Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 10 and a lot of news and just breaking down a lot of information we've been getting. We got the official synopsis for Season 10, which is awesome. We're going to read it and break it down in this video. Also, we got some little teasers and snippets on AMC's Twitter page. They've been really hyping up Season 10, and then also some filming news. And Season 10 is really close. It's coming in October. I'm so excited. Early October, that is. So, starting in September, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of teasers and trailers, hyping up Season 10. So with that being said, let's get into this video talking about the synopsis. Alright, so the official synopsis for The Walking Dead Season 10 is this. The Walking Dead is a story that started 10 years ago with one man trying to find his family. That family grew and gradually communities took shape. They fought and survived, thrived, and gave birth to a new generation. It is a tale of humankind, and there are more stories to tell. It is now spring, a few months after the end of Season 9, and when our group of survivors dared to cross into the Whisper territory during the harsh winter. The collected communities are still dealing with the after effects of Alpha's horrific display of power, reluctantly respecting the new borderlines being imposed on them, all while organizing themselves into a militia-style fighting force, preparing for a battle that may be unavoidable. But the Whisperers are a threat unlike any they have ever faced. Backed by a massive horde of the dead, it is seemingly a fight they cannot win. The question of what to do and the fear it breeds will infect the communities and give rise to paranoia, propaganda, secret agendas, and infighting that will test them as individuals and as a society. The very idea of whether civilization can survive in a world filled with the dead hangs in the balance. Alright, so a lot to unravel there. I really like that synopsis. I like how they started off saying The Walking Dead started 10 years ago. And yeah, I mean, it's the 10-year, anniversary of The Walking Dead, which is insane. Season 10 is awesome. I love how I got a Season 10. And not a lot of TV shows get a Season 10. And, 10 is always a solid number, I think, for I say that, but it's also a very rare number. But just something about Season 10 just looks super cool. And it's awesome how The Walking Dead got a Season 10. It's probably going to get a lot more seasons. And that's what they kind of dove into next, talking about how it started with one man and now it's, on to a new generation. There's so many kids in The Walking Dead, Judith and RJ could, they could be on the show for a very long time, and those characters could take on Rick's legacy, and, that will always be a part of Rick there. So that's so cool how, The Walking Dead is in this new generation. And that's why I think we always talk about how The Walking Dead is something that is not close to ending, because even if this main show doesn't end in 2 or 3 seasons, this franchise as a whole could very well last a very long time. So you just have to, it's pretty amazing what they created here, and I can't believe it's 10 years. I'm gonna watch it to the end, as long as I can. I love this show. But anyways, now getting into the actual Season 10 stuff, that is awesome. So now we get some exact confirmation of what the timeline is. Now it's spring. Obviously, Season 9 ended during the winter, so it has been a couple of months, which obviously makes sense because we got set photos and stuff like that. And it obviously is not that was a very heavy storm. Also, Rosita has her baby. So some time has passed, which does bring up some questions, because in the synopsis they did say that they have been reluctantly respecting the new borderlines. So what, it's been a couple months and they've just been, okay with that. So what's gonna cross it? What's gonna make Daryl, I'm saying Daryl because in the trailer it looked like Daryl crossed the border, but what's gonna make them want to cross the border? Because if they've been respecting the borderlines for a couple months now, so I think something big has to happen. Maybe it's a whisper that triggers it, or maybe they somehow found out that they crossed it earlier, and something happened. Somebody might have end up getting killed by a whisperer, and that could very well trigger the whisper war. What do you guys think is gonna trigger that whisper war? Because obviously it's been a couple months and there has been no whisper war. It might have even been to the point where they haven't even seen each other. So what's gonna happen? What is gonna, because also in the trailer we had that moment where I believe it was Yumiko who said it. She said if we cross their border, that's starting a war. And then it cut to Daryl crossing the border, kind of just letting fans know yeah, a war is coming. So What do you guys think is gonna cause that moment? Because if it's been a couple months, I feel like something big has to happen to change everything and change the way they're living. If I had to come up with a theory right now of what's gonna trigger the Whisper War, I would probably say somebody accidentally crosses the Whisper border. The Whisperers find out. Like, I don't know how it would be an accident. Actually, it would be pretty easy because they just maybe are traveling and they don't know. But yeah, somebody accidentally crosses the border and Alpha just kills them, or a Whisper just kills them, and then everybody back home would be pissed off about that and be like, okay, these guys can't be serious. You know, it was an accident and they just took the guy's life. Like, no way. And then that's gonna kind of trigger the war, because they're gonna be like, we have to go talk to them, and then, you know, from there it's just gonna, you know, go get out of control. I think maybe somebody else dies, maybe they fight a little bit, and then somebody, you know, they say like, we can't, like, same thing with Negan, you know, they can't just live under Negan's rules because it was very uncomfortable and nobody was happy. Same thing here, you know, they probably are gonna get to that moment where they're gonna be like, you know, we can't keep doing this, we have to be free. And that's kind of gonna lead into the Whisper War. You guys let me know in the comments down below, what do you think is gonna trigger that war? But with that being said, the next part is also really interesting, because while they're, you know, respecting the borders, so this is gonna probably be like early on in the season, they are gonna be doing this militia style fighting force, preparing for a battle that may be unavoidable. That, I believe, is gonna be the beach scenes that we saw in the trailer. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm really excited about that beach sequence, because that does look real cool, and it does look like a militia style fighting force, because they're in some sort of formation, and I think that the battle they're preparing for is walkers, because yeah, that's kind of unavoidable, because walkers are going to come to them, because walkers are walkers and they want to eat people. So that's what I think is going on in that, you know, beach sequence. I mean, there's also a ship there, so maybe it was like a shipwreck and everybody on board was a walker or something. But obviously, you know, fighting walkers, that's unavoidable. So I think that's what's going on there. And then the next part of the synopsis is basically, you know, the Whisper War, talking about how the Whisperers are a threat they've never seen before. And then also, it, you know, it definitely makes the community scared. And it says it gives rise to paranoia, propaganda, and secret agendas. And that is part of the trailer that we saw, where we saw people talking about, or like Michonne and Aaron were talking about how people are going to be scared, and we saw like the silence, the whisper stuff. And then that kind of ties into what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where AMC has been posting these little, you know, snippets, just like real quick, you know, videos on Twitter. Like, here's one of Connie spray painting Silence the Whisperer. So that obviously is going to be a big thing in this season. Obviously they're posting it on Twitter, which kind of confirms that, but that is an interesting thing, and obviously it's from the comic books. Now this makes me believe there's going to be a lot of internal conflict prior to the Whisper War, because if a couple months have passed and there hasn't been no we don't know if there hasn't been any proms, but that's what I'm kind of assuming, because if they're going to pick up a couple months later and there hasn't been a Whisper War or anything like that, I think they're just kind of going along their business, and then somebody ends up dying. And that's when the community started to split. Like, some of them were like, okay, we can't risk this anymore. You know, this person just crossed into the border as an accident. You know, they didn't even mean to do it, and they ended up dying. So we have to go deal with the Whisperers. And maybe the other half are like, you know, we can't do that because it's too dangerous. And, you know, we can't even tell the difference between a walker and a Whisperer. So it's going to be hard to fight them in a war. So that's what I kind of see happening, like some internal conflict, but ultimately and obviously they're going to go to war. So I'm very excited for a Whisper War and the whole Silence the Whisperers and, you know, the internal conflict. Season 10 looks to have a lot of good layers, and I'm very excited for it. But one last thing I wanted to talk about before I wrap up for the video. We got some more filming news, and this is like a quick little thing, is that Michael Kulitz will be returning as a director for season 10. I'm sure many of you have already known this, but some images, shout out to the Spoiling Dead fans, some images have been going around of some filming at Alexandria, and we have Carol here, who I believe now has short hair again, and we have Lydia. So we know those characters are going to make it probably to the second half. And then we have Michael Cudlitz here directing. So just quickly wanted to share it with you guys in case you haven't heard, but Michael Cudlitz will be returning to direct in season 10. I know he directed early on in season 10, but it looks like he's going to be directing an episode as well during the back half. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see him being involved in the behind the scenes stuff. I know he always teases him returning in front of the camera as Abraham, so we'll see if that does happen. But regardless, I am excited for, you know, his episodes in season 10. I was a fan of his episode in season 9, episode 7. I thought it was really good. So I'm excited to see what he does in season 10. But with that being said, I am going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Leave all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below about the Whisper War and the synopsis and all that kind of stuff. I am interested to read them. Thank you guys for watching. For more Walking Dead videos just like this, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys later.